Good afternoon, everyone. Heat blob going to penetrate the Arctic. Watch how this thing moves. I wonder how that's going to bend the atmosphere moving into the next week or so. Historic severe drought, central Chile. Let's check that over time, going back 500 years. It looks like a cycle. Well, it looks like the water has moved over to Yemen. Record-breaking snow in Finland. Sea of Galilee refills. Wait a second. Are we looking at Yemen? Dry place on the planet? Oh yeah, it used to be the Axsum kingdom, known for its fertile soils, grain harvest, and gold currency. Oh, but that was 1,700 years ago. I wonder if it's a cycle also. Well, that's a first. The FDIC posting a video on YouTube urging Americans to keep your money in the banks. And it looks like the banking system could be in for a 10 times larger shock than the housing meltdown in 2008. And it's quirky that if it was such a stable financial system, the FDIC wouldn't need to say a word. With this much inflation on the way, only one investment stands out: gold. Patriot Gold Group has no fee-for-life IRAs where your IRA or 401k can be in physical gold or silver. At Patriot, you work directly with an owner and avoid paying absurd broker fees. Call today or request a free investment kit. PatriotGoldGroup.com. The link's in the description box below. And when you see a headline like this, extraordinary heat wave to enter the Arctic region, you have to pounce on it. Something unusual manifesting in the Arctic. As you can see, the red arrows, that's the flow. Blue is where the cold is going to be pushed to. There's a displacement going on over the Arctic. Definitely anomalous, for sure a shift. A grand solar minimum, absolutely, in my opinion. Now, this is with Climate Reanalyzer. They run the hottest on the net. Regardless of that, you can definitely see where the intrusion is marching through the Arctic. Watch how it progresses and actually does displace the entire Arctic air mass, pushing down all the way through Canada into, what's that, almost Florida? Really? I bet it'll get to Mexico as well. It is anomalous and strange, so keep your eye on this. If you're looking for obscene, absolutely strange weather that you've never witnessed before, this could very well bring it on, because the collision of the air masses and how fast they're being moved out of place, plus the collision, and it is springtime, you're looking for multiple tornadoes anyway coming down and extreme weather fronts with wind. This is something very anomalous here. It would be expected, though, with a grand solar minimum intensification, I would be looking for mass electrical phenomena accompanying this, especially over the Arctic Circle. I mean, those are the field-aligned currents. Something's coming down there electrically, causing this discharge and movement of such a mass of the atmosphere. The agenda continues, sort of, but I mean, there's more important things now, right? Planes aren't really flying, ships aren't really going. It'll be really interesting to see how much they're going to try to push this in the media versus 3 or 4 years ago when nothing had stalled on the economy. Jumping down to southern hemisphere here, historic severe drought, central Chile, 10th year. I thought, okay, where's the yellow arrow going? Oh, all right, it's showing where the dried basin is. And then the scary photo here, March 2018 compared to March 2020. It's really difficult to get a gauge of how large this basin is, so I started to do a little more research on it. It's east of Santiago, up in the mountains, so you know it can't be that large if it's a natural occurring alpine lake. This is how big it is. Definitely on the tourist trail, a lot of really beautiful photos. It looks like a stunning location, whether it be winter or summer. Definitely, I would like to visit if I'm in Chile. I want to go here. They're talking about azure waters refilled by glacial melt and all those micro minerals, rejuvenation properties. Maybe it's the fountain of youth. So I was able to dig out this report here, glacier equilibrium line altitude variations during the Little Ice Age in the Mediterranean Andes. So in English, it means this area in Chile is termed the Mediterranean Andes. Now, the glacier equilibrium line altitude means when the glaciers are growing, they come down further in altitude, 3,000 meters, 2,000 meters. When they're receding, they're going higher, 3,300, 4,000 meters. It's up and down. So where the glacier line is, basically, in this area of the mountains, from 30 south to 37 south. And it was measured during the Little Ice Age from say circa 1500 AD through 1850 in this exact area here. Now you notice that the teal square and the purple circle are exactly where this catchment basin is for El Yeso. Very detailed research. I'm very happy that they put all the effort into the measurements of precipitation and temperature over at least 350 years on this chart. And then when we come to today, it gives you a good indication that nothing's been solid in terms of it's always been this way. Look at the variance on this chart here. Precipitation, 1550, 1600, 1700, 1750. It looks around 1820. You're getting those massive spikes in rainfall. But then look at the temperature drop as much as 3 degrees Celsius, right around 1690, and then 1815, year without a summer. So that one's very easy to decipher there. That deep drop, that's Tambora, year without a summer. Little Ice Age is the one just prior to 1700, 1640 to 1710 was the traditional dates given for the Maunder minimum. Fits right in there. Now if we take a look at the winter temperatures, we start to see a different glimpse because that's what you're looking at in summer, decrease in temperature or increase in rainfall. Now let's move to May to August, which remember it's the southern hemisphere. It's winter time. It's the opposite of the northern hemisphere. And if you look at the century low marks on precipitation right there, 1600, 1700, 1800. Do you think it'll go 1900, the year 2000? I'm curious because the variance here in temperature as well, it even dropped out a sliver before that, 1640, traditional start date of the Maunder minimum. But remember, these are winter temperatures compared to what we saw with the summer temperatures. Now the AFP, Associated Free Press, these photos here, Chile, drought causing water shortages. But again, it's natural variability. So it is a great news story. I'll admit that, water is such an important thing for us, for agriculture, our hygiene at the moment. But it's a cycle. So nothing goes to zero. That rain that was displaced there that's causing a drought has definitely shifted to either Yemen in rainfall, the record-breaking snow in Finland, and then the Sea of Galilee as well, refilling for the first time since 1992, completely full. And a glimpse in at the visible here. This is real interesting. Up in the Mediterranean, you get a metacane sweeping over Egypt and right over into Lebanon and Israel. But take a look further to the south there. That's exactly where Yemen would be. Second cloud band, second storm system. Look at the amount of rain coming down. Now, if I said Yemen, one of the driest places on the planet, would you think that it would have done this for the third year in a row? Massive floods like this 3 years in a row. They used to have an ancient reservoir out there. If you go back about 2,000 years to 1,800 years prior, they had a massive reservoir that fed huge irrigation canals, and Yemen was a major producer of grains. This is almost 2,000 years ago. We look today, bone dry, but it looks like the waters are returning. In Sana'a, I understand there's been a lot of damage from coalition forces, including the Saudis. Perhaps that's part of the reason that the drainage isn't working optimally. We saw the same thing in Libya. So it just seems to be, if you have resources, a new grow zone, water resources, deep water port, or you're moving to a gold-backed currency, or you have a new grow zone emerging in a desert area that could offset losses in, say, North America or Europe, your government's just not good enough. It needs to go. And speaking of going, let's go back in time. Axsum, approximately 1,700 years ago. Now take a look at this. Fertile grain growing and a gold standard currency at that time. So when incense and spice traders would go down to get Axsum gold coinage, they knew it was the correct weight. No debasement. So this became the standard of the time for the Arab traders. Forget the Roman denarius and that garbage, debased. What do you see on the coinage? I see wheat, and even on the silver coinage, it looks like wheat, music, entertainment, and some sort of medicine there. I wonder what metals will do during the reset of this global collapse at the moment. You think gold and silver will still have value? You're going to have to grow your own food, but if you cannot, or you're waiting to supplement in with some other long-term food storage as you move to a more sustainable, self-sufficient way of life, My Patriot Supply and Adapt 2030, 2-week grab-and-go food crate, or the 4-week food supply, links in the description box below. And since they've hired so many new people, the wait is now down to about 6 weeks for delivery. The link's in the description box below. It's a way to support the Adapt 2030 channel. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video, and I'll see you next time.